Imagine a killer whose crimes shocked the nation, leaving a trail of horror and disbelief. Who was Jeffrey Dahmer, and what drove him to commit such heinous acts? Today, we explore the chilling story of one of America's most infamous serial killers, known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, whose reign of terror in the 1980s forever scarred his victims and shocked the world. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His early life appeared ordinary, but beneath the surface lay a troubled psyche. From a young age, Dahmer displayed disturbing behaviors, such as dissecting animals and showing a morbid fascination with death. Despite a seemingly normal upbringing, his inner turmoil would soon manifest in unthinkable ways. Dahmer's descent into darkness escalated in his teenage years. He struggled with social isolation and alcohol abuse, which worsened after his parents' divorce. His disturbing tendencies grew more pronounced, leading to troubling incidents that hinted at the horrors to come. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, Dahmer's dark fantasies turned deadly. His first known crime occurred in 1978, just after his high school graduation, when he picked up a hitchhiker and killed him. This act marked the beginning of a series of gruesome killings that would span over a decade. Dahmer's modus operandi involved luring young men to his apartment under false pretenses. Once there, he drugged, killed, and assaulted his victims. His apartment became a place where he dismembered and disposed of their bodies, often keeping souvenirs. Despite several encounters with law enforcement and interventions, including an incident where a victim managed to escape and alert police, Dahmer evaded capture for years. His ability to blend into his community and manipulate those around him added to the complexity of his crimes. The true extent of Dahmer's crimes came to light in July 1991, when police uncovered human remains and evidence of torture in his apartment. The revelation shocked the world and horrified Milwaukee, leading to his arrest and a detailed confession that stunned even seasoned investigators. Dahmer's trial in 1992 became a spectacle of horror and disbelief. He was charged with multiple crimes, and his chilling demeanor during court proceedings only added to the public's revulsion. His defense attempted to portray him as mentally ill, but the overwhelming evidence of premeditated acts sealed his fate. In February 1992, Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced to life in prison. His time behind bars was marked by introspection into his motives and the psychological factors that led to his crimes. Despite occasional interviews where he expressed remorse, his crimes left a scar on the collective psyche that still resonates today. Dahmer's early years offered little hint of the horrors he would unleash upon Milwaukee. Raised in a middle-class household, he was the older son of Lionel and Joyce Dahmer. His childhood was relatively ordinary until early signs of trouble emerged in adolescence. Dahmer's fascination with animals took a dark turn when he began dissecting roadkill and later moved on to live animals. This behavior, coupled with his increasing social withdrawal, hinted at deeper psychological issues. Dahmer's parents' divorce during his high school years seemed to accelerate his descent. He struggled academically and showed little interest in school activities. By his late teens, alcohol became a regular escape for Dahmer, who was increasingly withdrawn and awkward in social situations. Despite these troubling signs, his descent into violence remained hidden until his first known crime in 1978. The victim, Stephen Hicks, was a hitchhiker Dahmer picked up under false pretenses. Dahmer killed Hicks and buried his remains. The crime went undiscovered, and Dahmer's life continued on a trajectory of increasing violence and depravity. Throughout the early 1980s, Dahmer's dark fantasies intensified. He began frequenting gay bars and bathhouses where he would lure young men to his apartment. Once inside, he drugged his victims, killed them, and assaulted them. His modus operandi involved strangulation or blunt force trauma, often followed by dismemberment. The details of Dahmer's crimes are chillingly methodical. He would carefully select victims, sometimes photographing them before their deaths. Afterward, he would preserve body parts as souvenirs, sometimes engaging in acts of cannibalism. His apartment at the Oxford Apartments in Milwaukee became a place of horror, with remains and evidence of torture hidden in plain sight. Dahmer's ability to evade capture for so long was due in part to his seemingly normal exterior and his ability to manipulate those around him. Despite being questioned by police on multiple occasions and even having a victim escape and alert authorities, Dahmer managed to deflect suspicion and continue his spree. The turning point came in July 1991, when police responded to a report of a naked, disoriented young man running in the street. The man, Tracy Edwards, led officers back to Dahmer's apartment, where they discovered evidence of Edwards' ordeal and photographs of dismembered bodies and human remains. Dahmer was arrested on the spot, and what unfolded stunned the nation. The subsequent investigation revealed a trail of horror spanning years. Dahmer confessed to multiple crimes, although the true number of his victims may never be known. His demeanor during interrogations and descriptions of his crimes horrified even seasoned investigators. The media dubbed him the Milwaukee Cannibal, a moniker that would forever haunt the city. Dahmer's trial in 1992 was a media spectacle, drawing worldwide attention for its gruesome details and the psychological insights into his mind. His defense team, led by Gerald Boyle, attempted to portray Dahmer as mentally ill, citing his troubled upbringing and his struggles with his sexuality. However, the prosecution's evidence of premeditated acts painted a picture of a calculating killer. The courtroom was filled with tension as survivors testified about their experiences and experts delved into Dahmer's psyche. His demeanor during the trial contrasted sharply with the brutality of his crimes, adding to the public's revulsion and fascination. In February 1992, Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced to life in prison. His time behind bars was marked by introspection and occasional interviews where he expressed remorse for his actions. However, his crimes had left an indelible mark on the collective psyche of Milwaukee and the world at large. Dahmer's legacy extends beyond the horror of his crimes. His case raised troubling questions about societal neglect and the vulnerabilities of marginalized communities. Many of Dahmer's victims were young men of color and LGBTQ+ individuals who faced discrimination and systemic barriers that made them targets for exploitation. The aftermath of Dahmer's crimes prompted soul-searching within law enforcement and social services, leading to reforms in how missing persons cases and vulnerable communities are handled. His case also highlighted the importance of early intervention and recognizing the signs of mental illness and predatory behavior. On November 28, 1994, Jeffrey Dahmer's life came to an end when he was murdered by a fellow inmate at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. His death, while bringing a sense of closure to some, raised questions about justice. Dahmer's legacy continues to provoke debate and study, serving as a chilling reminder of the darkest corners of the human psyche. Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes remain a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked predatory behavior and the impact on victims and society. His name is forever etched in infamy, synonymous with depravity and the tragic loss of innocent lives. The lessons learned from his case continue to shape our understanding of criminal behavior and the importance of vigilance in protecting society from such atrocities. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories and let us know in the comments who you'd like us to cover next. Stay safe.